Welcome back to another episode of Industry Talk with Brandon Andre. And today, my guest is...
Hi, my name is Kevin Liu. I am 24 years old. I'm with State, Select, IMD, and Wilhelmina Models. And I'm currently based in Los Angeles, California.
So let's start talking about your career experience. How long have you been modeling for?
I've been professionally signed with a model agency for a year and a half.
Well, how many years before you got signed to an agency were you trying to become a model?
Yeah, I would say a year.
And unsigned, or did you have a mother agent or what?
Unsigned. I did join a couple sketchy agencies that I don't think I would want to name. It just wasn't.
Wait, why are they sketchy? And why wouldn't you want to name them if they're sketchy? I'm all about exposing the scam agencies.
No, I mean, there's not sketchy. It's just unprofessional.
Oh, so they're not scams. They're just
they were really unprofessional. So
who?
I'm not guessing. Because I have some people in there.
Oh,
my friends.
So you were signed to them before? Or you?
Yeah. Okay. I was signed with them before, but I told them, hey, I just want to drop my contract. And then that's when I found my mother agency, IMD. And that's where everything started rolling. All the balls started rolling. And that's where I guess my career just went up instead of it being stagnant. So yeah, really appreciative of my mother agency.
What made you want to get into modeling? Did you just wake up one day, look at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, damn, that guy can be on a runway?
I think when I was little, I never had a lot of confidence, right? I was a really shy person. It was hard for me to really put myself out there. I think when when you grow, you kind of glow up. And I've had my family members tell me that, oh, he looks like this ex-celebrity, like a Chinese celebrity. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. And I've had friends in high school tell me that I should model. And at first, to be honest, I wanted to be a zoologist because I really like animals. I like nature. And yeah, I just took a leap of faith because I didn't really know what I wanted to do in college. When I did my first photo shoot, that's where I really found love for this career and for the industry. So I just persevered through and just started doing modeling.
At what age did you realize, okay, I want to explore modeling? Were you in high school when that happened, or were you a child?
I was in senior year of high school. I didn't want to do some 9-to-5 job, so I just did modeling or tried doing modeling.
So your mindset probably is what a lot of younger models are, which is okay, I'm not gonna... Did you go to college?
I did my transfer degree before I took a break from college, so I didn't fully drop college.
Okay, so you got your associate's degree, but you just didn't transfer to get a full degree at university.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did go to junior college, basically.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
yeah.
And where are you from again? What area?
San Gabriel Valley.
So did you go to San Gabriel College?
No, I went to Mount Sac.
Oh, I went to Mount
You
Sac.
went to Mount Sac?
I went to Mount Sac.
I hate that school.
Wait, that's how... Is there a San Gabriel Community College? Did I just make that up?
No, I think it's just...
I just made that up. I just figured it was going to be the title of that.
I think it's just Mount Sac. Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Sac. That's where I went to. I was there for 5 years. It was great.
Dang. I was only there for a year and a half.
Yeah, and then I was there for 5 years and I didn't end up transferring, so...
Because I think in college, I thought about modeling, but I didn't know how to start. And I felt like being in school, it was just impeding my performance as
a model,
someone trying to be an upcoming model.
You thought your college experience at a community college was impeding your career as a model?
When you have parents, Asian parents, they want you to graduate fast. Oh, okay. They want you to graduate fast.
Right,
really
right.
Just have... I had a shitload of classes. Yeah. Also have to pay for modeling, to get into it because it's not free.
It's not free? I thought if you were just attractive, everything gets handed to you for free.
No, you're not one of the special ones. Okay, don't worry. But yeah,
with school for you, because of your background and your parents, was you either are all in with school and you're getting straight A's, or in your case, you're I can't give that all my focus and attention.
Yeah.
So that's what you're suggesting. You, instead of giving it all to education, you wanted to give it all to modeling. How happy and proud were your parents for you for making that decision?
They weren't proud of it, I didn't tell them that I was dropping college to do modeling. It was more so of a gradual decline, focusing in college on classes and stuff. After COVID hit, a lot of universities, they kind of closed for a bit, and I just took that time to really think about what I want with my future. And I decided that I'm just going to take a break and I'm going to pursue modeling. You know, when you don't know what you want with your life, your future, you know, it's kind of rough. Like 2022 is when I like started learning more and being more in tune with like the industry.
So what was your first move before you understood how modeling worked? What was the first step you took into making that happen?
My first step was to just shoot with friends. Anyone that I knew that took photos. They weren't shoots that would help build a portfolio you would see on like a modeling website, but I think just trying to get comfortable in front of a camera.
So then when did you ever take digitals? Did you ever end up taking digitals to submit at any point?
Yeah, I did. I took really bad digitals. Like the lighting was bad. I had bad hair too.
So do you think in hindsight it would be better to hire a professional?
Yes. A lot of clients, they want to see the bare minimum. They are looking at your portfolio, but they just want to see what you look like without anything special and just like that.
You know, there's this debate online where it's like, oh, well, Brandon is charging all this money for digitals, $400, and I stand on that because I'm worth it. But a lot of models will say, oh, models don't have to pay. They shouldn't have to pay all this money to get digitals taken. You can just take it yourself. You can just take it yourself, right? But you took it yourself. And how was that experience? And did you submit those? And did you hear back?
I took digitals in the past and I submitted them, but I did not get any feedback whatsoever. They were just so bad. If I started off with understanding my look, doing more research, and finding a good photographer to do these digitals with, I think I would have landed a mother agency or some agency a lot sooner.
So it would have been a good investment because it would have expedited the process, essentially.
Because, I mean, digitals are so important because they're what help gets you signed in the first place, you know?
Look, realistically, I'm going to help make someone money. So, and I'm going to help you make a lot of money, especially depending on how good these digitals are, because not only can these digitals get you signed, but for some models, they can actually get you booked right away. Getting good digitals taken with a photographer that knows how to guide you, direct you, makes a difference because it can expedite your career process, as you're stating, because you took your own digitals, submitted it, didn't really hear back from an agency. So at what point did you hear back, and what was the catalyst of you getting signed?
I started taking digitals with my friend who's a photographer. I submitted it to a mother agency and they saw potential in me because I also had a different look as well.
For the new digitals that you take with your friend?
But also they were just more professional, like a lot more professional.
And that's a good point that you even brought up, because a lot of times digitals, because I get digitals from people that are international, right?
Yeah.
And they're not digitals that I took, but I can see the potential in them.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when you submit digitals, it really just depends on who gets them. If I'm getting them, I can spot someone's potential and I'll have calls with them and I'll have them like retake them in a way that I think will like them better, where I'm not the one taking them. But if someone at an agency is skimming through like 1,000 submissions, they're just going to take one look at it and go, bye, because they don't have time to see how you could have done it better, you know? And that's not what their focus is. Their focus is on scouting talent. And sometimes they will. I'm not saying that agencies don't have scouts that can see potential. Of course there are, but your objective as a model is submitting is to make it easier for them to see your potential. Then it made it easier for your mother agency to be like, okay, I know what we can do with this kid. I actually like to think about it from like a perspective of a record label. Do I want to take the time and resources and energy to develop an artist that doesn't have an audience, that doesn't have a lot of streams? Do I want to be doing that in today's market? Or do I want to find an artist that has 1 million followers on TikTok, that already has 500,000 streams on Spotify? What is going to make me make money faster?
That's what I think, because I had an instance with a really good agency in LA. I don't think I'm going to disclose that too, because they are good. It's not their fault, but it was just they wanted to wait to see me develop more, and they didn't sign me on the spot. I've had an interview with them, went to their office. They also reached out to, but they ultimately didn't sign me because I didn't have any work and they wanted to see my portfolio grow.
Now let me ask you, when that particular meeting happened, was this before you had your mother agency or after?
This was after.
Okay, so your mother agency, I'm assuming, set that up?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point, did your mother agency develop you with a portfolio, test you, digitals?
I think my portfolio was a little bare. I feel like the agency just wanted to have someone that's more able to.
And let me unpack what that means for the audience, because what that means is they weren't willing to take a risk because they didn't fully believe that they could sell you.
Yeah.
Right. And so what a model has to do at that point, and I'm also entering this discussion in this podcast here forward with you guys needing to understand that I just signed 2 models to be their mother agent. So now I'm looking at what I do from the perspective of a manager who manages models, right? So going back to what your situation was, if I'm an agency looking to sign you, I need to believe that I can actually market and sell you.
Yeah.
And if your images currently aren't doing you justice, then that's when I'll be hesitant and not actually really fully commit. So what does that mean? It means, and this is why it's important to be with a good mother agent. Your mother agent should only connect you to a modeling agency when your book is hella strong, is like strong and refined. Not just, let's just set you up with test sheets so that you could develop, but like, no, let's get you the best damn images so that all these agencies are literally clamoring for you.
Yeah. I would say like test shoots. He's right. Brandon is really right about this. Like test shoots with purpose, test shoots with understanding of what should be your look for the market.
I was talking with some agents last night. I'm not going to say who they were. I was telling them, like, you know, what makes what I do special is that I'm a photographer that focuses on developing someone's portfolio. And the problem when models test is that they're testing with photographers that they all, for the most part, especially if they're younger and they're newer, they want to become campaign photographers. They want to shoot for PacSun and all these high fashion brands or just LA brands. They want to actually do those jobs, right? Yeah. And that's a different eye because now they're going to be selective on who they're trying to do a test shoot with, and they're only going to be testing for their portfolio, for their goals.
Yeah.
I'm a photographer. I'm not testing you for my portfolio. My portfolio is just testing stuff, right?
Yeah.
But my objective is to make sure that my models have strong enough material in their portfolio so that it gets them work. So my focus is on you. How do we sell you? It's not about me and how your look can benefit my website and my portfolio so that I can get these campaign jobs.
Yes.
So, I mean, I have a lot of experience shooting, so that's why when I do someone's test shoot, it looks campaign style or it looks more editorial-esque. But that's kind of the issue, is that how as a model do you find photographers to work with to test that can test at such a high quality level, but it's also usable for your portfolio. And that's kind of why I'm even trying to build this platform to create that in photographers, to even let them know you guys don't even understand that there's a market to make money strictly from doing digitals and doing test shoots at high quality levels, and you could literally just focus on that and have a living for yourself, especially something that's consistent, because campaigns, just as much as it is for models, aren't as consistent for photographers as well. You know, going back to then got signed with this mother agency, they set up with a couple of test shoots for you here and there. You did 2 test shoots with your mother agency, but you're saying that some of your images from the shoots that you did before you were signed were transferable, meaning that they were usable in your portfolio.
Yeah.
So then once you had a portfolio built, then they connected you, and obviously I'm assuming they wanted to set up a meeting with you, and then you met with them in person, and then did they like you at first? Or
my first agency was state management. Yeah, they did like me, but I was nervous at first. I didn't have a lot of, like, what do you call
confidence?
Confidence. I didn't have a lot of confidence, but they kind of saw through that. They saw the potential of what I could be.
You got signed, and now it's been 1.5 years since you've been assigned model officially.
Yeah.
Is it what you always thought it would be like, or what has surprised you about modeling for the first 1.5 years?
I thought I would be getting a lot of jobs in the beginning, but that's just not how it works. Okay. You're competing with so many different models out there. What you need is like to really stand out as a model. That's in forms of your social media, your portfolio. I mean, obviously you can't control how you look, right? Besides like making yourself look good. Like, you can't change your facial features, but it's just a combination of that and showcasing your personality. It all has a play in whether you get the job or not.
How tall are you, by the way?
I'm 6'2".
Okay, so you're like fashion model height. So, you know, one thing that's going to be interesting for people to understand too is, like, you're a fashion model in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So of the jobs you've gotten, how many of them have been fashion oriented versus commercial, like your LA commercial?
30% is in LA. I've had options for Bottega, Amiri, that they were shooting in LA. I've had stuff for high fashion brands.
What are the brands you have worked with in LA?
H. Lorenzo. I've worked with Sunglass Hut. I just did that recently.
Oh, nice.
It was a big campaign.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. So a lot of commercial stuff in LA.
So you're only signed with Stay LA,
Yeah. Or just in LA. Yeah.
but not Stay in New York.
No, not in New York.
So on that note, models that are signed to modeling agencies, you could literally just email your agency and be like, hey, I need to come by the office for an update. Like, can we schedule an appointment? And That's all. That's how it works. That's how you get an update for digitals.
Yeah.
Now, are agency digitals going to be high quality? No. Most of the time, it's just off of like a point and shoot, and and that's like for a specific reason too, because usually when you're signed to an agency, they don't need like these. You're not selling yourself to the agency at that point. You're just brands just need to see what you currently look like. But obviously, brands are going to love it if these digitals that they're getting are like high quality, like the ones that I take. So yes, in most cases, I would advise investing in high quality digitals because it's only going to help sell you better, but you're going to get free ones and updates for free at your agency all the time, but expect that they're not going to be high quality. So it is what it is. You've been working some fashion jobs here, some commercial jobs there.
Yeah, I would say I also got options.
Okay, let's talk about options actually, because I think that's what models need to understand. Because you might get emails from your agency saying, hey, this brand wants to do something with you. Are you available for this date and this date? And then you see the breakdown and you see the pay and everything. You get really excited. And then they say, well, you are on option. And what does that mean?
It means it's the biggest cock block in the modeling industry in the world.
So how often do they ask you to hold that day in advance?
2 weeks is usual.
Yeah. And then let's unpack that. Do you work a part-time job?
I used to.
What happened?
I've been more sustained from like modeling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
a lot of young males think that a certain amount of money is what's sustainable. And I think that the only time that should happen is if you're making $60K a year from your modeling career. And if you're not, then you need to get a job.
yeah. No, I agree. You need to be sustainable yourself. Like you have to go get a part-time job. You can't just 100% rely on your modeling career to make you money.
But the point of why I even asked though is because if you are working a job and your agency asks you, hey, 2 weeks from now, you have this potential thing, you're an option, clear your schedule for that thing. And then you talk to your boss, you're holding out that date for this job that you don't even get.
Yeah.
That's the life of a model.
Yeah, it's really rough because like it's hard to find a job when you're modeling because the schedule is really irregular, and if you have that day reserved for something else, you're missing an opportunity to get that job.
So what do you think in the limited time that you've been doing this is a way to influence making that option into a confirmed?
It's just working on yourself, improving your book, being the best version of yourself in front of a camera, and having good relationships with people.
Do you think though that that's like what it is, or do you think that people just get chosen because they just have the look? Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's that too.
Which I think is important to ask you because I don't want models to feel like when they don't get confirmed, like they're not enough.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what you're suggesting too. It's like you need to work on yourself because you didn't get confirmed. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes
it's not the case. It's just pure genetics. You can't beat genetics at the end of the day. If a client is going to choose that other person over you, it just probably means that he has more of the look.
Being an option is a good thing. Is a good thing because at least they're liking you enough to consider you as a backup option for something, which is better than never being on option and never having anything come your way. So being an option is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think in that case, the best thing a model could do is work on their social media presence.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only real thing. Because being an option means you do have close to the look that they're looking for, which means that there's really nothing you can do to change that, just availability.
Yeah.
But the one thing that does always tend to push someone over the edge, whether they want to choose you or not, is if you had 1 million followers and the other model that's an option has 50,000 followers, who do you think they're going to choose realistically?
I was an option for this one brand 7 times in a row for the same job over and over until finally they chose me.
What was the brand?
Levi's.
Was it campaign or what job was it?
Ecom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you getting consistent work now, like in terms of ecom jobs? Like, are you seeing a lot of ecom? Like, a lot of the work that you're getting, is it campaigns? Like, where is your money mainly coming from in terms of the jobs you're getting in modeling?
Most of the money came from campaigns at the moment.
Do you have any regular clients for doing ecom stuff?
It was H. Lorenzo.
How many ecom shoots have you done with H. Lorenzo?
4 so far.
Okay, so they're consistent. They're a consistent client, which is good because that's what you want as a model because they pay probably like $1,500. I don't know what the day rate is, but is it around that $1,500 a day for an 8-hour day? Or do they pay more or less?
Or less. Like Nike, for example, if you get on their good side, they really like you, they're going to send you to their warehouse to go shoot every other day, because I had a friend who did that, and he was making a lot of money from doing ecom. Like being a consistent ecom model, make a lot.
Now, let me ask you, have you always been on time for every job that you've been a part of?
If I'm going to be honest, no.
Whoa!
Not all the time. There are some times where
Kevin.
I've been a lot better.
Why? You literally quit college to do modeling. What do you got to be doing other than showing up to your jobs in modeling?
I have really bad time management, but I am getting a lot better. I've been getting more on time.
Did you ever get in trouble by your agency?
Sometimes.
More than one, Kevin.
Because the times that I have been late, of course, they're going to get on you for it.
Yeah, plural. I don't like that plural sound. So stop. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I definitely stopped. So
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it before so that they can learn? Because it's really important. Because if Kevin wants to get back to like getting bookings, it's important that he shows up on time.
Yeah.
But for future clients that are watching this, that was the old Kevin.
That was old me.
This
Yeah,
is
I'm
the
new.
new Kevin.
New Kevin
is on time.
Yes.
All the time. He's gonna show up 15 minutes before the shoot.
yes, or 5 minutes late. That's it.
No. 15 minutes early. He's going to show up 15 minutes early.
15 minutes early.
Okay. And he's going to even help carry some equipment if need be, because he's dedicated to being that guy on set. It's so crazy because every time I talk to agents, like they always tell me the problems they have with their models. Even with the models that I'm currently managing, the only reason why I decided to even manage them, because I didn't want to. People keep asking me, Brandon, are you going to do mother agenting? I'm like, no, I don't want to babysit pretty people. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, models are annoying because they never listen. The only reason why these particular male models is because they both listen and they take direction, and they're both in college studying computer science, so they're intelligent. They already have the discipline because they have the university experience that they're currently going through, and they're both first generation. Both their parents come from different countries, one from Ghana, the other one from Argentina.
wow.
And I can only deal with people that have good ethics. I cannot deal with people that don't listen, and that's why they've listened to like everything that I've been like guiding them through as we've been going through this process and stuff. To me, that's the ideal model to work with. And usually, like with these two male models that I'm managing, before I even decided to start being a manager, they booked a session with me. So they both paid for my digitals, they both paid for a test shoot and stuff. So they have skin in the game. Problem with models, when they get scouted and developed and all that, especially if they didn't pay any money, they have no skin in the game. That's why they take it for granted and they show up late, and they don't realize, like, if you have that attitude, why would anybody want to work with you? Like, there are people like my guys who invested money to do this the right way. And like, those are the people that should get preferential treatment than the model that takes everything for granted. So it's important that you guys understand as you navigate this career, especially in the beginning, like, you got to show up on time. You should show up 15 minutes before the shoot starts. You shouldn't be drinking the day before your shoot. You shouldn't be partying. You should get a good night's rest. You should be also looking into the brand, figuring out who the creative director is, looking into the style and direction of what the brand is going to probably want to go in when you're on the set. You want to like know these things because that's what's going to make them like take an interest in you and remember you. And you also have to figure, and we've talked about this with Omar, which if you've never watched that interview, you got to know who Omar is. But brands are going to remember the people that were the best and most pleasant to be around on set. And if you can like make sure you build that rapport with them when you are doing the jobs, then that's what's going to make you more money. But again, Kevin is on a new path with his new haircut. Let's talk about hair as an Asian male model, because I remember we did talk. You asked me like my perspective on like haircuts, because you were trying to figure out like what to do and how to change up your look. So what did your hair look like before, and how did you get to this point?
Before, my haircut had a lot of volume, and they were like sticking out. It was like really puffy on the sides, and it just wasn't looking like sleek. It was just looking kind of messy.
Is this the mod haircut, or what is this?
This is the mod haircut right now. I chose like a more high fashion look, and I think because of that, I've been getting more bookings.
Yeah, probably. It makes a lot of sense. Do you know how to style it in multiple different ways?
Yeah, I do. With this haircut, I can stick it up and like comb over. I can part in the middle, or I can just leave it down and like flat on the sides. Keep it like clean and simple.
Now, as an Asian male model, is it hard to find a hairstyle that isn't done by another Asian male model, especially because there aren't a lot of Asian male models?
Yeah, there aren't a lot of Asian male models, and there aren't a lot of haircuts that people, like clients, really look at for Asian men. They kind of just stick to one haircut or a couple. It's either a buzzed Asian haircut, or it's an Asian with hair that's like longer and more in the forehead, more on the sides, you know,
Like a
not cut.
K-pop haircut,
Like a
basically.
K-pop kind of K-pop haircut. Yeah. So I don't think we have a lot to work with.
So as you know, like in fashion, male models are not necessarily always a focus. It's a woman's dominated industry, right?
Yeah.
So you're already at a disadvantage because male models make a lot less money. There's a lot less work for male models.
Yeah.
But you're not just a man, you're an Asian man.
I'm a minority.
Exactly. You have even less of representation and jobs that are available to you than your average American white dude. So do you feel that though?
Honestly, don't feel that. Asians have been on a come up recently in terms of like in the industry. So there are a lot more Asian models than there were in the past. And I do like the inclusiveness of that. But I wouldn't say I've had any hiccups becoming a model because I'm Asian, since a lot of clients and brands are looking for more Asian people.
Right. That's what I learned when I did the male hairstyle videos. I'm like, wow, there's probably like 10% Asian
Yeah.
males. There are a lot for sure. I mean, they're not like a lot, but in
but it's
terms of
compared.
like every agency has at
Yeah.
least 10% of their roster made up of Asian males.
Yeah.
So there's definitely options. But I did notice that it's like Asian males, it's hard for them to, like, they all either have that buzz look or like the K-pop hairstyle.
Yeah.
And it's not as like diverse.
Yeah.
It's kind of still like they're looking for a specific type of Asian man.
Yeah.
Were you born in America?
Yeah, I was born in America. I was,
I hope that's not racist to ask.
no, it's not. It's not. You're good. You're good. Born and raised in
Do you
Los
speak-
Angeles.
Mandarin? What is it called? Sorry.
Chinese.
Chinese?
Chinese or Mandarin. No, I don't. Not really. I'm not that fluent in Chinese,
Okay.
but I only speak it a little bit. Yeah.
Because you have kind of like a slight accent.
I think it's from my mom because the way she speaks. She speaks like kind of like not broken English, but it's just like she has a slang.
Can you mimic your mom's accent?
What are you doing? Okay, that was
Not great. Not a great
not
mimic.
great, but it's,
But I'm glad to know what your mom tells you all the time.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that. Do you feel like culturally connected to being Taiwanese/Chinese? What do you identify as, by the way?
Taiwanese.
Okay, so Chinese. I know that Taiwanese people are basically Chinese.
Yeah,
but,
they're basically
But you're
Chinese.
culturally Taiwanese then?
Culturally Taiwanese.
How closely do you connect with your Taiwanese culture versus just being an American that lives in Los Angeles?
I feel like the only way I really do connect to my Taiwanese culture is food and family. And there aren't a lot of Taiwanese people in LA or just around this area, if I'm going to be honest. But there are a lot of Asian people, and a lot of Asian people, they share somewhat of the same culture. Like there are things that they do the same, and I'm able to like embrace that culture, like the Asian culture.
Right. Does that mean that because there's so few Asians signed,
Yeah.
that when you see other Asian male models, you're just like, what's up?
No, yeah. I feel like I try to make friends with every Asian model that I see, because like we are so cut and thin, you know. And usually when we do, like it's all good. It's all fun. You know, we have a lot of the same interests, and it's really nice. Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool to have like that little community within the modeling world.
It's a little nice community.
Now, do you see it as like an advantage then, you know, in terms of like the jobs that you get, like because they'll sometimes like we're literally specifically looking for an Asian dude. So do you feel like there's an advantage to that? Or, I mean, I know that you're still new, so it's not like you're getting bombarded with all these jobs, but do you consider that as a part of the equation in modeling?
I would say it like this. I honestly don't know. I'm just gonna say this. I honestly don't know whether or not being an Asian person is an advantage or a disadvantage. It's really hard to really.
Yeah,
that.
that's a good point. At the end of the day, though, it really just depends on your look. If you have a cool, solid look, I think that's what matters. So, I mean, even as we discussed, like, oh yeah, they look for super dark skin or super Asian or super whatever.
Yeah.
Don't focus on that. Focus on just having a solid look, because if your look is cool, they're gonna rock with you. And
That's true.
if your look isn't, then they're not gonna rock with you. And you shouldn't think that it has to do with being too dark or too light or too Asian or too mixed. You know, because there's a video that went viral with this Swedish kid, and I argued like he's conventionally attractive, but he's not remarkably unique.
Yeah.
And you know that has over 1 million views on TikTok and Instagram and stuff.
crazy.
And I think what people fail to realize is that when you are a minority, you have to be more than just conventionally attractive for being Asian or being black. You have to be unique as a black man, unique as an Asian man, unique as being South Asian. Whereas when you're white or European and you have that mix, you can get away with being just conventionally attractive and not even that unique, which is why in the comment section all these people were yelling at me saying he could be a model, you're crazy. It's like, no, he could. I mean, he could technically model, but he's just not remarkably unique. So there's gonna be so many, there has to be faces that have to beat him out, because, or there will be faces that will beat him out because he's not remarkable in any way. But you guys are so used to kind of like accepting mediocrity from European looks that you don't understand what that entails, especially when you come from an Asian or black perspective where you have to be more than just conventionally attractive. You have to have this look. You have to compete on a way harder basis and stuff, which is real, honestly, when you're not European or Caucasian. So in your first year, how much money did you bring in from modeling? Today's podcast is brought to you by me, Brandon Andre. If you're a model who wants to become a working model, then you need to enroll in my Model Masterclass today. In my online class, I teach models how to make more money by showing them how to manage their careers as a business. From getting signed, to building a portfolio that gets you jobs, to building an audience on TikTok and Instagram, then monetizing it, to learning how to win the favor from your agents and casting directors, to learning how to brand yourself on social media, and how to lure in brands and brand deals to increase your income as a model. Getting signed doesn't mean you'll get work, but learning how to run a business does. So enroll in my Model Masterclass now by going to my website at brandonandrephoto.com.
You know I'm a new model.
But this is like the honest, like a lot of first years are not going to look high.
Between 8,500 to 10,000.
What about the second year? Because you're going into your second year, right?
I would say
$15,000 so far.
Yeah, so far.
And this year composes of January and February?
Yeah, January, February only.
Wow, 15.
Yeah,
cool.
That's
good
crazy
stuff. Okay, so total you've made about $25,000 in modeling for the last 2 years that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you guys can expect to make.
But you have to keep doing, you have to keep going at it. And it's just when you keep going hard at it, you keep improving, you keep being the best person you can be, it's going to keep building up and things will start pouring in. So
yeah, but again, that happens when a lot of models are new and they don't have a lot of the guidance. And then we can even go into talk about, you know, how my content you feel like has helped you, especially because there's a lot of people on social media that try to delegitimize my expertise. But you're a real model that's signed to an agency. You've worked. How have you found help with my content and like what I produce, especially because today's the first day that we've ever met, you know? So what have you gained or learned anything from what I've shared?
Yeah, I have. You teach a lot of how important social media is as a model, how to take digitals correctly, the importance of digitals, how important social media is as a model. Because if you have a really good social media, you could potentially be getting a lot more gigs and you could be more successful through that.
And test shoots as well. Learning how to test shoot the right way.
How to test shoot the right way, who to shoot with, and the importance of like doing the right test shoots and not wasting your time doing something that shouldn't be in your portfolio.
Which what we're saying is that if you apply all of those things that I teach, that 25,000 you made in the last 2 years could be double, you know, and it should be double because the more information you guys get, the more it should change the outcome of what you produce and ultimately make more money. And if you do that too, your agents are going to love you because they want you to be doing your part, you know? Like, how long did it take for you to realize I actually have to do a lot of the legwork myself here? What do you anticipate the next couple of years looking like for you?
I anticipate my career doing a lot better than last year. I feel like I've been putting a lot of time and effort into like my portfolio, my social media.
He has actually his social media game. He stepped it up and it's like
stepped it up a little.
It's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
And I'm planning on posting more and just being myself in front of like the clients. That really has helped me.
This is another thing too that'll help because the more you talk on camera and you could ask these questions,
the more you're like talking, like doing the social media stuff and just being yourself, the more people are going to want to work with you.
Do you think you're gonna still find another job so that you can invest in like getting more clothes for test shoots and like investing in things in modeling, because you're gonna, if you want to go to New York, you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to make money to pay for a whole trip out in New York to
Yeah.
walk for Fashion Week, which let's hope fall is where you
Yeah, definitely.
land a casting for a runway show.
I hopefully do.
Are you unopposed to getting a job that you can make money so that you can still invest in things in your career to expedite the process?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to getting a job.
What was
I
the
feel
last
like-
place you worked at?
My dad owns a company, like a printing company, and I worked marketing for him, and I've done like production work. So, yeah.
And you stopped doing that? Did he fire you?
No, I just I couldn't do that because I was always in just trying to like save up money, but I wasn't focusing on
That
this.
seems like the best situation, because your dad should be able to be flexible with like, hey dad, I can't work today, I have a casting, or I
Yeah,
have
no,
a-
it is the best thing you can do. Like if your family owns a business and like you can come in like anytime you want. So I guess if I do need the money, I would go back just to work with him on the days that I am free. But I want to dedicate a lot of my time towards modeling, test shooting, making content, and I feel like you just don't want to burn out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing,
Yeah.
my concern is like, you need money. Like if I was your
Yeah.
manager right now, I'd be like, okay, we want to get to New York, but do you have when I was last in New York for
Yeah.
1 week, you know how much the cheapest hotel I found was?
No, how much?
$3,000 for 1 week.
Jesus Christ. But also,
Do
like
you have $3,000 to go to, exactly? So
$3,000 a week?
$3,000 for 1 week. For 1 week.
That's crazy.
Okay, and that's a decent, or that's not even decent. That's like the lowest end of a hotel. I mean, sure, you can get an Airbnb outside of the city, which I've also found for like $500 for like a day, I think, or 2 days or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, you need that money if you're gonna go to New York. You
Yeah.
need that money. So
There are also a lot of agencies, they set up like model apartments.
no,
They don't do that?
they do, but that's way more money than what you would get if you were just Airbnb.
Serious?
Yeah,
If you're sharing with like a room full of like other
but that's
models?
why I created the Discord server, so that you and another model from LA can just go and split the cost. Because you know what I did find, and I was considering this too, but I found corporate apartments where you can spend $5,000 for 1 month and get an entire apartment, and you can split it for 3 ways with a model, and you get it for a whole entire month, and now you're saving so much money just doing corporate housing.
That's
so
true.
But yeah, every thing that I've ever heard for model apartments, I would never do a model apartment. You're way better off finding another model and splitting the costs.
Don't they? I thought model apartments don't charge you instantly, or like when they set it up.
So,
they-
but I wouldn't advise a model to do that, because you, and honestly, this is what I even tell my own models that I manage, even with our arrangement.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be instances where I will come out of pocket just because I have money. So it's a business expense for me
yeah,
to cover costs, because I really want to see this work.
yeah,
I have something to prove to everybody about managing models here. But
Yeah.
there are instances where I'm not going to come out of pocket, but I can take it on as a debt and you guys have to pay me back.
Yeah.
But I'm encouraging them, don't put yourself and don't put me in that situation,
Yeah.
because you never want to be owing someone money. It's never a good place to be in debt to somebody. So I'm encouraging them, still work here and there and save
Yeah.
money, so that if we go to Milan, or if we go to New York, you're not doing it where you have to pay me back, but you're just upfronting the costs.
Yeah.
Because it's way better to do that than be in debt to your agency. So my encouragement to you is like, don't do that as a debt to your agency, because you're getting into a bad habit of like expecting, especially because fashion is so unpredictable. You can go
Yeah.
for however much time to New York to try to make something happen, and you didn't book anything.
Yeah.
And now you have $3,000 you owe your agency, and now you're working in LA just to pay off the debt.
it is a huge risk. Like modeling is such a huge risk, but you have to be really honed in on what you do, or else like it just won't be worth it.
So are you going to start working with your dad and make some money to prepare
Yeah.
for a trip in New York?
Yeah, I would.
I think at 24 years old, you should at least have $10,000 in the bank. Okay, realistically, with your monthly income, at least $500 of money that you can put into savings. $40,000 is the average income of males in the United States, right? So if you make less than $40,000 a year in the United States, you make below average male, right? You're living at home with your parents, so you should be able to save money. You should be able to be pocketing a lot of money right now, because I mean, do you pay rent at home?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, these Asian parents, they would never just let them sit for free. Some do, I guess. But it's not like a fortune, right? Like $500 or something.
Yeah, just some like
Yeah, so he's contributing to the household, which is normal. But still a lot less than he's going to be paying if he would be paying if he'd be living on his own, right?
That's true.
Figure this, at $10,000, if everything you do goes wrong, you can at least take that $10,000 and invest it into a business or skill that you can then make money off of later on in life. But if you have no money saved, you did something wrong. And a lot of models do this, which is why I'm like pushing back on you, where they're like, well, I don't want to get a job because it gets in the way of my modeling and I won't be able to. Bro, figure it out. Especially you're so lucky because you have parents. Now that could be a good thing and a bad thing. I understand. So ideally you have to figure out a way to make it work for you.
Yeah.
But figure out how to make money. Like even when on the downtime that you have, yes, you want to fill it in with like creating content and building what your brand is going to become.
Yeah.
But you need the money to get to New York. And I'm not saying that you don't have it. I have no idea how much money you have saved, but I know a 24-year-old kid and I know how these guys are with their money. So I just know that you're going to need to figure out, you know, what that trip looks like, the cost of living and everything.
I've been trying to save. I mean, I've been trying. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, and the thing is with males too, they're very reluctant to be open about their finances, and that's why like every young person in my life, like I'm always helping them with their finances, and I'm like, how much money do you have in your bank? Like I ask people dead ass, how much money do you have in your bank? And they'll tell me, I'm like, that's not enough. What are you doing? Like, what is wrong with you? And then we talk about, I talk to my friends about their credit scores too. I'm like, what's your credit score? Why is it 500? Why is it 600?
500?
I mean, I'm being exaggerating right now, but I'm just saying, like, you know, there are guys that are in their 20s, early 20s that they have bad credit.
My credit score is 791.
That's good. Keep it that way.
Yeah.
Imagine like a lot of these models, they get into this industry without having someone like me that they're constantly being guided by. They literally treat modeling, especially because when you consider how much money you make in a day, you know, what's your highest paying job? You don't have to tell me who the brand was, but how much did it pay you for that job?
$12K.
So you got paid $12K, and for that job you worked what, 8 hours total?
It was like a span of a couple of days, but like it was like short work days.
How many hours per day would you say? Like half days, like 4 hours?
4
days you made $12K. You know, when a kid who's in their early 20s makes a lot of money in such a short period of time, they think that becomes an addiction. It becomes like, oh my gosh, like I never want to work a part-time job because why am I going to make $20 an hour when I just made $12K in 4 days? And this is a problem because then that's when that young model decides, I'm going to quit my part-time job because I'm better than this.
Yeah.
And then they realize that 12K they made for those 4 days is the only job they made that entire year.
Yeah. Maybe like have it more consistent, like your income from modeling more consistent in order for you to quit your part-time. But I wouldn't suggest quitting your part-time.
Yeah, and that's the scary part too, because you don't know when to predict that, you know. That's like it can and it can happen next year or even like this year for you it could take off and you're starting to book a lot of stuff. But I think what's hard to read as a model is when not to confuse that for something that's going to be longevity. You know, like it doesn't necessarily translate into longevity. It could just be a season. And that's kind of like the trauma I think of working as a contracted worker is, especially when you're not in control of it, you know, like I'm in control of my photography business. All I got to do is create content, post, market myself, and I get bookings, right? And now it's just increasing because my brand is building and stuff. Modeling, it's you wish it would be like that you can do your marketing. And in some ways you can. You just do the social media, and then if your brand builds, you can scale by getting income from social media, and hopefully like better images will help get you more jobs. But it's less predictable because your targeted audience is casting directors and brands. It's not the general public. My audience is the general public, so I'm getting people from all over the scopes, models who want to get signed that book with me. So it's tricky and inconsistent because of that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, in the beginning, definitely like keep your job and ensure that you have a steady income. Because the other thing I was going to say is you say that figure, but then you have to figure too, like how much someone pays in rent, how much someone has in debt. Some people who live in California might have a car payment, then they have to pay insurance, then they have to pay their rent, which if you're splitting with 2 people, you're probably going to be paying $1,500 a month in LA, which is fair. I'm paying like $2,700, and then any credit card debt that they have, and then on top of that, any expenses they have for modeling. So it could get pretty pricey, which is why I often tell people don't get into debt. Like make sure you pay out of pocket so you don't have to like put anything on credit cards. Have an income and stuff. But I mean, like again, it's every situation is different. Each of us have our different like privileges. I was able to live at home until I was like 29. So I was able to like save a lot of money. You currently live at home, so you're able to save a lot of money. You also have your dad that you can work with at any time to make money.
Yeah.
Those are like the benefits of each and every person's own story and stuff. And ultimately though, and I think how we can wrap this up, ultimately we each have to figure out how to take advantage of what we were given and make the best out of it, you know, because he has his dad that he can work with, but I built my entire photography business because my dad had an office on Wilshire Boulevard in downtown LA where he said, take the space and do whatever you want with it. And I built a photography business from it that then became what it became today, and I didn't have to pay him rent. So we each have our own like privileges and blessings that we get that honestly you're dumb to not take advantage of.
Yeah.
And I don't even look at privilege as like a negative thing. Like the people that are like, you're privileged. Hell yeah, I am. And I like it. Who wouldn't want to be privileged?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the opposite of privileged. But be wise and be a good steward of the blessings that you are given, you know? Thank you so much for coming on. So I want to ask you something. Are you going to come to my Bible study next Tuesday at 6 p.m. in Los Angeles, California?
Wait, is that real? Is that a real thing?
Yes.
Bible study?
I'm holding a Bible study for models in Hollywood next Tuesday. I mean, this is the second day that I'm doing it. So what are you doing next Tuesday at 6 p.m.?
I am unfortunately Buddhist.
So?
Okay, I'm down. I'm down to embrace you.
So? What is that? I'm not forcing you to convert to Christianity.
No, I'll embrace it.
You should just open your perspective to listen and hear and just learn another perspective of life.
Peaceful.
And if it works for you, it works for you. It will work for you because my God works for everybody. But if it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Yeah, I had a friend who is a Christian. I have a friend. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
I'm like, ooh.
He's a really Christian guy, and he's always good to be around with. He's always talking about God.
You're still friends with him?
His love. Yeah.
So why don't you bring him with you then?
I'm sorry, I'll bring him. No, he's in Paris. He's in Paris right now. He's living in Paris right now. So. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, but good stuff, bro. I'm glad that you came on and shared a bit of your story. Yeah, you know, you're a new model, so obviously a lot of this is still being fleshed out, and this is real. Like that's part of the reason why I even want to bring on like models that are new, because it's not always going to look clean and simple and linear.
Yeah,
it's a process, and you're learning. Yeah, and this is like, you know, an insight to what a new model's life looks like and the complexity of it. But in a year or two, you're gonna come back and you're gonna be like, yo, bro, like I walked for this show, I did this campaign, I saved this much money. That's what we're aiming to show people here, is the reality of the model life.
I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect model. I'm not a perfect person. I'm always working on myself every day, and you guys should too. I think eventually you'll get to where you want to be if you put in a lot of effort and hard work.
There you go. See? He's ending it with encouragement.
I still have a lot of problems. Hey, don't get me wrong, but
we're
working on it. We're all working on it.
Which is why he's coming to my Bible study, so he can learn how to fix his problems the way that we all are at the study.
Yeah, new religion too.
Anyway, all right, you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and tune in for whatever next episode we release.
Thanks for listening to today's show, and don't forget to hit that follow button to be in the loop when a new episode drops. Be sure to check out my model masterclass by visiting my website, brandonandrephoto.com, or by clicking the link in my bio on Instagram at @thebrandonandre.